He's a tough street-fighting lawyer with the highest ratings for honesty and integrity. He's here for you every Saturday morning to answer your legal questions and get you the help you need. You're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram of Ingram Law, live from the studios of News Radio 1055 WERC. Call in now, 439-9372. That's 439-9372, and ask Joe your legal question, or email the show at questions@joeingramlaw.com. Joe Ingram has more than 20 years experience fighting for his clients here in the state of Alabama. Joe's focus is criminal defense and family law. You don't have to face your legal issue alone. You've got Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, on your side. In case of sensitive legal matters, you can always reach out directly to Joe at joeingramlaw.com and arrange for a private consultation. And now, Birmingham's defender of the defenseless, protector of the people, and all-around good guy, Joe Ingram.
All right. It's Saturday morning. It's 6 o'clock. It's about 28 degrees outside when I left my house this morning. This is the new first version of the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer. This is our first show. What started out in a basement about 2 years ago as a podcast has developed to a Birmingham Market live radio show. I want to welcome all of you and plan to be a part of your Saturday morning routine. This show is meant to be informative, educational, funny, and hopefully caller-driven with your interest and legal issues and questions in mind. We encourage callers to be a part of the show. You can call us 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC. Or you can question us at the show live, questions@joeingramlaw.com. Again, questions@joeingramlaw.com. If you have a personal, confidential, or an issue that is something that you do not want to discuss on the air, you can call my office Monday at 205-335-2640 or 205-506-5590. We will discuss the case with you over the phone. If we need to, we'll get you in. We'll have a phone consultation. If I can't help you, I will at least point you in the right direction to get you the help and the voice you need for your legal issue from my vast network over the last 20 years. So, December the 7th, historically, is Pearl Harbor Day. Pearl Harbor Day. It was the attack on Japan in the attack on Hawaii in 1941. Yeah, the day that lives in infamy. Today is our attack on legal issues in the greater Birmingham area for people that need a voice, someone to listen to them, someone to care, to maybe give them some help and hope, to point them in the right direction. So, over the coming weeks, we will discuss issues that are relevant to you. You can always call us, give us feedback on the things and the topics that you would like to discuss, and we will bring that information to you. We will have panel guests on this radio show regularly in various topics for different areas of the law that I think will be of interest to you, or you may call in or send us a message, questions@joeingramlaw.com. on a particular area that you want to hear us talk about. We're going to have some special segments that I'm going to develop over the next year that we are working on. One of which is, Joe, how do you know that? Joe, how do you know that? We get those questions every day at our law office. One of my favorite topics to discuss with all of my legal buddies when we get together for CLEs. How many questions did you get this week called quick questions? People will call the office. I got a quick question. Do you have money? Do you have money to hire a lawyer? Oh, no, I have no money. I can't afford a lawyer, but I have a quick question. Can you help me? We get those every week. They're really good. They're really funny. We're going to do the quick question segment of the week. So we'll talk about that. And the show is really written for you. This show was developed to be caller-driven, to be engaged with people in the greater Birmingham area that have a need and a voice to be heard. So that's where we're headed over the show. We are live at WERC 105 FM Talk Radio. It's Saturday morning. Again, phone number is 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC. You may call us at our office, 205-335-2640, 205-506-5590, if you need a particular issue that you need help with. So, outline for today, the first hour, we're going to talk a little bit about a very important issue this time of year, which is Christmas parties. Christmas parties. This is a legal show. Yeah, it's a legal show. And what happens when you leave the Christmas party? That's the really big key here. What's going to happen at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night? We're going to talk about that when you go get in your car. And then we're going to talk about another big issue this time of year. Today's December the 7th. Christmas Eve is the 24th, roughly 2 weeks away. We're going to talk about visitation time, quality time with your children on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Which parent, non-custodial parent, gets what time with the children? You only have so many of those moments in their developmental and informative years as infants and children and teenagers before they are out the door. It comes faster than you realize, Mom and Dad. We're going to talk about those moments, what happens during the holidays when you want to see your children. And that's really important. We're going to talk a lot about that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about an introduction to me, the type of work I do, the type of cases I handle that may be relevant in your life every day here in the greater Birmingham area. So that's a little bit about the first hour. Again, this is the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the Scotch drinking, road running street lawyer that's here to help you today. Wake up, Birmingham. It's 28 degrees outside. I'm about to go running here in 2 hours. Every Saturday morning, I run between 6 and 10 miles on a Saturday morning. So that is where we start out. All right. So, little introduction about me, your host. I'm Joe Ingram. I have been a practicing attorney in Birmingham, Alabama for 22 years. I handle cases from Huntsville, Birmingham, Mobile, Montgomery, and even Dothan, If you can talk me into it, I'll go to Dothan. We primarily do criminal law, which falls under cases that are municipal cases. We handle cases in state court. We handle federal criminal cases. Yes, federal criminal cases. I have tried 10 federal jury trials to a conclusion. And we've beaten the government a couple times, which is a really big deal if you go look at the national statistics. In fact, we've gotten a couple cases dismissed at a suppression hearing after my clients were indicted. That's a really good deal. That's a really good deal for my clients. We do family law. Well, Joe, what falls under family law? Okay, let's talk about it. Divorce, whether it's a contested divorce, whether it's an uncontested divorce. What's the difference? We'll talk about that. We handle modification of child custody. Maybe the child is not in a good place, in a good home. Maybe we need to change custody to the other parent. We also help people that need an increase in child support. Maybe you got divorced 10 years ago. The children are now in junior high or high school. Everything has gone up. You don't need me to tell you that. It costs a lot of money to put kids in extracurricular activities, soccer, volleyball, football, tennis, whatever it may be. You make more money. The non-custodial parent makes more money. It's time to up the ante. You need more money. So we may have to go do that. We also help people with PFAs. What is a PFA? Really good question. Protection from abuse order. You don't necessarily have to be married to the person to get a PFA order. You could be their ex-spouse. You could be their ex-boyfriend. You could be their girlfriend. You might need a PFA if you are in a physically, verbal relationship with someone that you are related to by blood or marriage or in a relationship with. Talk about PFAs a lot. We're also going to talk about a lot of other legal topics, such as employment law, wage and hour law. We're going to talk about car wrecks. We're going to talk about people that are injured on the job, worker comp cases. Those are really important to people that work really hard for their paycheck every week, 40 hours. They get hurt on the job. And then their greatest fears may happen. They're going to get rid of me because I got hurt on the job and I filed a claim. That is the impression on this street. My mother told me one time when I had a job, Joe, never file a workers' comp claim as soon as you do. They're going to find a way to get rid of it. That's not necessarily true today. But there are a lot of antiquated laws related to workers' comp issues, such as how much money do you get a week while you're off work? Well, you get 66 2/3 of your average weekly wage over 52 weeks, which isn't a whole lot. And you have to go see the doctor of your employer's choice, not your doctor. Unless we ask for a panel of 3, then we get to pick a choice of 3 doctors to go see. You get a better shot. So we're going to talk about worker comp cases. We're going to talk about cases where people are hit by tractor trailers. We will discuss issues related to people that have landlord-tenant issues. You're in a home. You're in an apartment. This time of year, heat is really important. Heat's really important this morning. My landlord, my slumlord, he wants his rent every 30 days. He won't fix the furnace. The furnace isn't on. Well, we have a real issue there for you and your children. You need some heat today. We're going to talk about landlord-tenant issues. You may have a criminal conviction on your record that doesn't fall under the exceptions of the expungement laws. And you call me, Joe, can we get this case expunged off my record so that I can go to school, so that I can go get a job, so that I can move forward my life? I made one mistake in my life, and this is preventing me from starting to get a fresh start. We're going to talk about expungement laws and what they do for people every day, why they were written by the Alabama Code. It's a really good thing that we did creating expungement laws. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about so many more things over the next coming weeks as the show develops and you have interest. So it's about 6:21. You're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer. It's 20 degrees outside. Let us hear from you, folks. 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC. If you need to talk to us, call us. If you have questions at joeingramlaw.com, questions at joeingramlaw.com. And let us hear from you. We'll be glad to talk to you. We'll point you in the right direction. That is the opening of where we start. Now, let's talk a little bit about the work Christmas party. The work Christmas party. You go to the work Christmas party and you have a few drinks. You let your hair down. People that you see 52 weeks out of the year, 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, that you talk to a little. Maybe you're friends on social media. Maybe not. You have a drink. You have a glass of wine. You have a glass of champagne. You may have even something more like me, a good glass of scotch. There's nothing better than a good glass of scotch at about 6 o'clock in the winter. Maybe you have eggnog. Southern Comfort eggnog. With maybe just a little bit of Maker's Mark, just a little bit of bourbon. And to top it off, let's put just a little bit of nutmeg on it to get that nice taste standing around the Christmas fire. And then you decide to cut loose a little bit. The edge wears off. You become funny, personable, relatable to the people you work with. And then you have a couple more drinks, a couple more cocktails. You let your hair down. And before you know it, it's 10, 11, 12 o'clock. It's time to go home. Your boss looks at you and goes, Joe, you need to go home, son. You've had too much to drink. I've seen more of you today than I've seen in 52 weeks. You need to go home. What happens in the next 30 to 45 minutes could either greatly ruin your Christmas, or, if you're smart, you have a designated driver. You take a Uber. You take a Lyft. It's a whole lot cheaper than door number 2. What do we have for door number 2? Well, you get in the car. I think I can get home. I'm within 20 minutes of the house. I can do this. I do this all the time. You're going down Highway 280. You're going down I-65. You're going down I-459. And maybe the car starts pulling just a little bit to the right. Maybe you go just a little bit to the left over the lane change. Maybe you're looking at your phone, texting pictures to your colleagues of the Christmas party and how stupid you looked and how stupid they looked. Or maybe you're on 280. You stop at a red light. You get relaxed for a minute. You look at your phone. You're intoxicated. You let your guard down. Maybe you fall asleep at a red light. Joe, that doesn't happen. Yeah, it happens every day in the greater Birmingham area. Somebody falls asleep behind the wheel, either at a stop sign, at a red light, at an intersection where they get close to the house in the neighborhood, they let their guard down. And then the next thing that happens is someone walks up and taps on the driver's side window. Just a little tap. You roll your window down. Are you awake? Yeah, I'm awake. How can I help you? I'm an officer of the law. Could you pull your car over to the right out of traffic? Sure, I'd be glad to do that. Love to do that. Yes, sir, officer, I'll do that. Your adrenaline starts rushing now. The blood starts coming back to the brain. Oxygen starts coming back to the brain. And you start realizing you have a real issue now. It's a real problem. Humans have this innate ability that we believe we can explain anything away. You can't with the police officer. The greatest thing that's happened for police officers in the last 30 years is that patrol cars have developed into the most high-tech machines on this earth. The lights are so bright, it's like looking into the sun. If you're on Highway 280 at night and you're coming home and you're behind a police car that goes off, it'll blind you. It'll blind you. And the officer says, sir, ma'am, can I see your driver's license and your proof of insurance? Oh, yeah, I'd be glad to do that. Here's my insurance. Here's my insurance card. Okay. And he leaves. He goes back and sits in his patrol car for about 2 minutes. Not only is he running your identification to see if you have a record or a convicted felon, hello, he's calling backup car number 2. Joe, why is he calling number 2? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Here we go, folks. I'll tell you the rest of the story when we come back. As a little teaser, I'm going to tell you the rest of the story when we come back after the break here in a minute. This is a really good story that could cost you all of your Christmas bonus from your employer. You're really going to love the second part of our story. Again, you're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the Scotch drinking, road running, street lawyer here to help you. We'll be back. So just hang with us. Folks, you're starting to wake up out there. It's 6:29. It's 30 degrees outside. Let us hear from you. 439-9372, 439-WERC. Questions at joeingramlaw.com. Questions at joeingramlaw.com. We'll be back with you here very shortly, and we'll talk to you.
You're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram. If you need confidential legal help off air, reach out to Joe at joeingramlaw.com. Stay tuned for more. Joe will be right back after this break for news and weather on News Radio 105.5 WERC. You're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram. Joe is a 20-year veteran of the Alabama courts, specializing in criminal defense and family law. Call in live with your questions now at 439-9372. That's 439-9372. Or write Joe with your question for the show at questions@joeingramlaw.com. If you need a private legal consultation, email Joe at joeingramlaw.com. Now, welcome back to the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram.
All right. We're back for the second hour of the first edition of the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the Scotch drinking, road running street lawyer here for you. It's Saturday morning, 6:37, 28 degrees outside. And if you're just getting in the car, just waking up, just getting your first cup of coffee, listening to the news, you're about ready to go buy the Christmas tree, go Christmas shopping, take the kids for their soccer practice, ice skating, whatever it may be. Dennis, I know you're on the line. I'll get to you in just a minute. Thank you for calling. Want to talk just briefly about our DUI issue. If you're just listening, you've been to the Christmas party, you've had some drinks, now you're in the car. Now, you may be inebriated. You may be drunk. You may be too drunk to drive. And you've just been stopped by our local police or sheriff. And you're about to lose your Christmas bonus you've worked all year for. You're about to lose your whole Christmas bonus. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Hello, Joe. It's your money now. It's my money. What would it cost you a $60 Uber drive home? It's maybe going to cost you $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for your DUI. Happy me. What happens in the next 45 minutes is really important, folks. This is not the man on the street telling you something. This is a Birmingham criminal lawyer giving you an opinion of what I hear every day. Police officer says, "Can you step out of the car?" "Sure, I'll be glad to, sir." "Okay, good." "Sir, ma'am, have you had a drink tonight?" "Well, I went to this Christmas party. Maybe I had one drink, maybe two." For some reason, everybody always loves two drinks. No matter what their body weight, no matter how tall they are, no matter what their drink of choice was, whether it was wine, beer, scotch, bourbon, whatever. Maybe you mixed it with some shots. "I had two drinks." "Oh, okay, two drinks." "Can you take this breath test for me? Can you blow into this thing for me really hard?" "Sure, I'll be glad to do that." Maybe you blow .08. Maybe you blow over .08. Guess what, folks? You got a straight ticket to the city jail to sit for the next 24 hours in the drunk tank until you get to bond out and either call me or call a bail bondsman. Maybe you blow .04. Maybe you get lucky. Officer says, "Can you do some tests for me?" "Sure, I'd be glad to do that, officer. I'd love to do that." Well, if you're able to do it at 10 o'clock at night with the police lights blinding you like looking into the sun, if you can do that and hearing the sound of the traffic whizzing by, God love you. I couldn't do it sober. Can you walk this straight line for 5 to 10 steps? Sure. No, you're all over the place. You're a nervous wreck. Sir, ma'am, can you stand in front of me and look at my finger, look at my pen, as I do a horizontal eye test to see what your peripheral vision is? Sure, I can look at that pen. While you're wobbly, about to fall over like a Oompa Loompa. The officer is probably wearing a body cam video and recording every word and every sound you make at this moment in time. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call you are in custody at this moment in time. You are in custody. Yes. Sir, we are going to arrest you tonight. Ma'am, we're going to arrest you tonight. We're going to charge you with driving under the influence. What? What? What does that mean? You're going to jail. It's okay. We're gonna impound your car. We're going to tow your car, and then you'll have to make bail, and you can deal with it in the legal system. That is where your Christmas bonus goes, is to me, to the municipal court for your DUI. Now, some people make the decision. Some people take the man on the street perspective, the man on the street advice, and they say, hey, if you ever get stopped for a DUI, don't take the breath test. Don't take it. You can beat the case. Sometimes that applies to you. Sometimes it doesn't. It depends on whether you're a truck driver, whether you drive for a living, whether you think you can beat the case, whether you want to hire a really expensive DUI lawyer to fight your case in court for the next year or two to try to see if you can beat it on a suppression issue or a bad stop, or that the test was wrong, or if they take you down to the police station and they do another breath test on the Draeger machine that probably hasn't been tested and calibrated in 2 years, you're going to take all those choices and decisions at a moment in time. But that's how the DUI starts. There you go. So, we have a caller, Dennis. Dennis wants to talk about stormwater damage in Irondale. Dennis, are you there?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Dennis, how are you, sir?
Pretty good about you. I love scotch.
Well, it's 6:44 in the morning. I hope you quit drinking.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a little too early for me right now. I love that eggnog, too. We used to mix it with Jim Beam.
Dennis, before I talk to you, before we talk on the air, I need you to know this is being recorded. Are you okay with that?
Well, for sure.
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
They've got ordinances over here that says you can only build on like 25% of your land. And we've got house flippers over here pouring concrete driveways and all this and that. And we've got one stormwater pipe that runs through my neighbor's yard. And 2 trees have crushed the pipe, and they won't do anything about it. And that stormwater, combined with the driveway and the 2-car garage and their little pea gravel patio, it flooded my yard when it rains. And I was wondering if anything can be done about something like that, or, you have to jump on a municipality. And I imagine that gets technical, and there's not too many lawyers who want to do that. But what could be done about something like that?
Let me ask you a couple questions, Dennis.
All right.
Where exactly are you in Irondale?
2110 Second Avenue North. It's just east of Grants Mill Road. Grants Mill Road turns into 20th Street, and it's on right by the switch yard over here.
Okay. So, is this a developer that is building out a neighborhood? Is that the person that is causing the issue?
I'm not sure who did this concrete. He poured a slab right across the street from me the other day, and it's flooding some other people's basement. And I talked to the building inspector over here back in June, and he said, "Oh yeah, we'll get back with you." And he never called me back.
That's called government bureaucracy, Dennis.
I'm telling you,
101.
man, yeah, the mayor over here put blue Christmas tree lights all around City Hall when he got in power over there. So they've kind of encroached on our ability to be free people. I think Donald might get it straightened out, hopefully, but it's a mess.
Yeah. How long you lived in Irondale?
About 35 years. I moved here from Mountain Brook.
Long time.
Oh, yeah.
And I bet the property taxes are just a little bit cheaper in Irondale as opposed to Mountain Brook.
Very much.
The children are grown. Now you don't have to pay for the best school system in Birmingham.
That's it. In that state.
In the state, probably. Yeah. Well, look, Dennis, if you want to call me this week, I know some guys that do construction litigation. I do a couple of those cases a year. This may be a developer issue. This may be a subcontractor issue that falls under the contractor. It may be a city issue. Really don't know. Can't diagnose that over the phone. But you can't block up the storm drains. And you have to get all these permits when you're building out a subdivision.
Yep.
Dennis?
Yeah, man.
Okay. So give us a call at the office. Look us up, joeingramlaw.com, and
I will.
And we'll see if we can do something.
Go ahead. I heard one of your commercials too about when you're a kid, you do all this crazy stuff, and you shouldn't be held liable for that or this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. I went to Catholic school, man. If there's any way you tie the statute of limitations, those times could be rough.
Well, how old are you, Dennis?
I'm 67.
Okay, you got about a decade on me. I think we're all good on statute of limitations unless it's murder or rape. I think you're good.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll holler at you next week, man.
All right. Thank you, Dennis, for being our first caller on the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer. That's really funny stuff. That's really good. Okay. So it's 6:49. Saturday morning, probably 30 degrees outside by now, folks. I hope you're having your first cup of coffee. Give us a call, 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC. Questions at joeingramlaw.com. Questions at joeingramlaw.com. You can look us up on the web, joeingramlaw.com. If you need to call us this week at the office, 205-335-2640. 205-506-5590 if you would like to talk to us privately, not on the air, about your issue. We'll have a phone call or we'll get you in for a consultation to help you with what you need. We handle primarily criminal and divorce cases throughout the state, from Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, even Dothan, if you have serious money. It's just a little side joke on the side. So, we're getting to the bottom of the first hour, and time is the greatest commodity on earth, especially when you get to be middle age. The little clock, the little hands of time of sand. Yeah, time's running out on me now. But that's okay. We got all the time in the world for you to need you and help you. We're here for you. Give us a call, Birmingham. We know you're out there. We're going to talk about the next subject that we teased up in the first half hour about Christmas and visitation with the children between the custodial and non-custodial parent. That's really big this time of year. That's a really important issue. We're going to talk about that in the second hour in a really big way. So let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen over the next year. We're going to talk about criminal issues, DUIs, possession of drugs, possession of drug paraphernalia. Maybe when you got arrested for a DUI, your wife gave you a little controlled substance that day to take to the Christmas party. A Klonopin, a Xanax, alprazolam, all the good drugs, just to take the edge off. You don't have a prescription bottle in your pocket. When you get arrested for the DUI, if you have a controlled substance, guess what, folks? You've just ramped it up. You've moved it from a DUI to maybe a felony now for a possession of a controlled substance case. Joe, is that bad? Well, it's not terrible. It's not the best thing in your life either that's about to happen. It's going to help me. It's going to help my Christmas tree. It's going to hurt your Christmas presents. But that's why we do this, is to give you some funny, witty, informational, formative information. That's why we do this. And then we're going to talk about all the good stuff you care about. Employment law, worker comp cases. You get hurt on the job, you need help, your boss thinks you're faking the injury. They have a nurse go in the room with you every time you get seen by the doctor. And every time you see the doctor, the nurse goes out and calls HR and says, I think Billy's faking it. Billy ain't hurt. Billy just fell off the loading dock. They don't mention the fact that Billy got damaged by the forklift. He got stabbed in the leg by the forklift. It's really important. Had those cases. So we're going to talk about family law the second half of the hour. We've had some questions come into the show. Questions at joeingramlaw.com. Questions at joeingramlaw.com. Somebody called us, a gentleman named Ralph in Vestavia Hills, my stomping grounds. Hey, Ralph, a lot of trees in Vestavia. During the storms a few weeks ago, a tree fell on my yard. From my yard onto my neighbor's house. Now, he says, he's going to sue me for damage. Am I liable? Do I have to pay him for the damage? Well, Ralph, this is kind of like Law School 101. It depends. That's always the first answer that a lawyer gives you in any scenario. It depends. Depends on the facts. Is it an act of God? Is it a tree that you knew needed to be trimmed that was probably 110 years old that your great-grandfather planted? The limbs were hanging over his driveway. You knew it was sagging. It destroyed his car. It destroyed his boat, his motorhome. Maybe you have to pay. Maybe you don't. We'll see. But we'll talk about that, Ralph. What you better hope for is he wasn't in the car when the tree limb fell. Then you may have a serious insurance claim against your homeowner's policy for bodily injury. Yeah. Because we have all these plaintiff lawyers that are running around filing lawsuits, driving up insurance rates for all of us. We're all paying for the plaintiff lawyers in Alabama and the country to run the nationwide commercial campaigns, to run the billboards, to run the buses through the streets that are wrapped by the plaintiff lawyers. We're paying for all that in a big way. And they always love to tell you, you don't pay us up front. We do this for free. Really? No, they don't. They're kind of like a banker. They're banking on the worst case scenario for you and for them, for someone to pay and write a check. And the greater your insurance policy, maybe you have umbrella insurance. 1 million, 2 million. Maybe you have a rider on your homeowners. Great. What's your policy limits? Oh, 2 million. Oh, that's great. I love that. We can settle this case. You're not hurt that bad. So we're going to talk about that. So we have just wrapped up the first hour of the show of the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the Scotch drinking, road running street lawyer, here to help you with your needs. A live show that was built out of a podcast in my basement, and now we decided to take it live 2 hours every week. We're here for you. Give us a call, 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC, or look us up on the web, joeingramlaw.com, or call us Monday, 205-335-2640, 205-506-5590. We'll get you in. We'll call you. We'll get you into a consult if we need to. We'll talk to you at the top of the hour after we hear the news and weather. We'll be back.
There's another hour of the Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram, heading your way. You can ask your question live on the air at 439-9372. That's 439-9372. Or send Joe your question for air via email at questions@ingramlaw.com. If you need a private legal consultation, contact Joe directly at joeingramlaw.com. Stand by for more of the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram right after news and weather from News Radio 105.5 WERC. He's a tough street-fighting lawyer with the highest ratings for honesty and integrity. He's here for you every Saturday morning to answer your legal questions and get you the help you need. You're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram of Ingram Law, live from the studios of News Radio 105.5 WERC. Call in now, 439-9372. That's 439-9372, and ask Joe your legal question, or email the show at questions@joeingramlaw.com. Joe Ingram has more than 20 years experience fighting for his clients here in the state of Alabama. Joe's focus is criminal defense and family law. You don't have to face your legal issue alone. You've got Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, on your side. In case of sensitive legal matters, you can always reach out directly to Joe at joeingramlaw.com and arrange for a private consultation. And now, Birmingham's defender of the defenseless, protector of the people, and all-around good guy, Joe Ingram.
All right, we're back. Hello, Birmingham. This is the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer. We just got through our first anniversary hour of our new show, the podcast that started 2 years ago in my basement. We branded and developed to a weekly radio show to be with you, to get you the help that you need. Laura's called in. We're going to talk to Laura in just a minute. Laura, just sit tight just a second. Folks, we're here for you every Saturday morning, 6 to 8, to talk about your legal needs and issues. I do criminal law and family law throughout the greater Birmingham area and Alabama. Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, even Dothan. We do municipal court, state criminal court, federal criminal court. And something I forgot to tell you as well, we also do a lot of license issues. Joe, what are you talking about? Well, if you have a license to be a lawyer, doctor, pharmacist, dentist, pharmacy tech, dental hygienist, nursing home administrator, all of these professional jobs that require licenses. Did you get a little letter in the mail? Hey, we think you did something wrong. We want a response from you. We may take your license in about 30 or 45 days after we have a hearing. Yeah, we do a lot of insurance license defense in Montgomery with all the boards. So if you have a licensing issue for your career, your livelihood, your money, give us a call. We'll talk to you about that as well. Okay. We're fixing to go to Laura. Laura wants to talk about a divorce. Laura, you with us?
Yes, sir. Good morning. I'm ready to get a divorce.
Laura?
I've been married for 11 years.
Laura,
and I have two children.
Laura.
Yes, sir.
Laura, just relax. First question. You're being recorded on a legal show. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Laura, I appreciate you calling in. It's a big step. I understand that you're contemplating divorce.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long you been married?
I've been married for 11 years, and I have two children, 8 and 10 years old. My question, Mr. Ingram, is do I wait until after the holidays, or do I go ahead and file now?
Laura, can I ask you some questions this morning? Not to embarrass you, but to kind of drill down and diagnose what the issues and facts are in your contemplated divorce case.
Okay.
All right. Are you employed?
Yes, I am full time.
Okay. What kind of work do you do? What kind of income do you make?
I'm a teacher, so I make a normal teaching salary.
Okay. Laura, God love you. Teachers are doing God's work here on earth. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your service. How old are your children?
They're 8 and 10 years old.
Okay. And is your husband the breadwinner, or is he working?
We both work.
Okay. Is he the breadwinner?
He makes more than I do, yes, sir.
All right. And what is the nature of why you want to file for divorce? Is it just you can't live together? Is it something worse? Is he drinking? Is it drugs? Is it he's addicted to child pornography? What's the rift of why you want to end your marriage of 10 or 11 years?
No, I'm sorry to say, but there's infidelity on my husband's part, and I just don't think I can stay.
What proof do you have of the infidelity?
Well, his cell phone, I've seen calls come in, staying out late, not coming home when he's supposed to come home, those type of things.
What kind of work does he do?
Well, I really don't want to say, but he works a 9-to-5 job.
Okay. Is there any verbal or physical abuse in the home with you or the children?
Verbal abuse, yes, I think, and it's escalated since the infidelity has started.
Okay. Do you feel safe?
I do.
All right. Most important is physical safety for you and your children. If you're safe, we're good right now.
Okay.
So, Laura, the issue for you is, do you want to give him a Christmas present of a summons for a divorce case, or do you want to wait and get through the holidays? Have you thought about that?
Well, with two small children, I guess it would be a good idea to wait until after the holidays. but I would like to come see you. So what do I need to bring in for my first consult? What do I need to gather, and what type of information do I need to be getting in order to come to see you, Mr. Ingram?
Laura, very good question. If you've been married more than 10 years, this is really important. You need to get together 2 to 5 years of tax returns, maybe 12 months in bank statements, at least 30 to 60, 90 days of pay stubs. You need to get together a budget of what it costs to run your household every month. Power, phone, cable, water, AT&T, school activities for the kids, extracurricular activities. And then you need to set aside some money for you for a retainer for your lawyer for a fight. That's the information you need to bring in. And then if you can gather any information, if you can afford a private investigator to go out and see if your husband has really been stepping out cheating on you, we can do that as well. That's the kind of information you need to bring in to start out. And you need to write down a journal. You need to start keeping a journal of what's going on in your home every day.
Okay.
And then we can decide if we need to get through Christmas or if it's really a dangerous situation. We may need to get him out before Christmas, okay? You call us this week, 205-335-2640, 205-506-5590. We'll get you in. We'll set up a consultation, Laura. Thank you for calling. Thank you for sharing that on the radio. I know it's scary. I empathize. I sympathize with you. And we'll see if we can help you in the right way, okay?
Yes, sir. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Thank
Love
you.
listening to the show.
Okay. Thank you. All right. We have another caller, Dave. Dave, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Dave, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Central Alabama.
Okay, Dave. Dave, you know you're on a legal show. You're being recorded. Are you comfortable with that?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Dave, what's your issue? How can I help you today?
First of all, I have a son he's 21 now, but on his 20th birthday, he was at a certain university in a certain fraternity, and they were celebrating his 20th birthday, and they were putting rum in his solo cup. Well, anyway, his girlfriend lost him. First thing he thought he'd do was drive. He didn't even know where he was going. Got arrested. This is not my question. They arrested him. He spent 24 hours in jail. We hired us an attorney to take care of all of that. But my question is, now that this has been handled, he's training to be a pilot. But our attorney did not tell us that the DUI had to be reported to the FAA. So he's got a personal pilot license, but he can't go any further until he meets with the FAA, and I don't know how to even start to do anything like that. Does that make any sense?
It does. What county do you live in, Dave, or your son live in? Okay, and where did he get the DUI?
Sheffield.
Sheffield is what county, Dennis?
Yeah. I really don't know.
Okay. Was the DUI in a municipal court?
Yes, sir.
City court, municipal court, city court.
Yeah.
All right. And the DUI has been taken care of.
Correct.
Okay.
He's a good kid. He just made a mistake. Top 10 in his class, athletic. scholar, but he just made this mistake. And because the attorney we hired didn't know to report it to the FAA, he's been grounded. And he can't further his pilot license without whatever we have to do. And I'd like to know what I need to do to further that. His education in flight.
Yes, sir. Well, Dave, how long has it been since he completed his DUI program or his court diversion program?
That's 6 months.
Okay, so it's still pretty fresh, pretty new.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of these issues that we can't solve over the radio, over the phone.
Correct.
If you'd like to call us this week, we'll get you in for a consultation. We will see if there's any avenues to help him so he can get reinstated with the FAA to get back in a pilot's program. A lot of this may be factual, depending on how bad the DUI was. Was he .08? Was he .20? Did he have drugs with him? I don't want you to answering these questions over the phone, okay? We can talk about it this week. We may be able to help him get the relief he needs. If I can't, in my vast resources of contemporaries and colleagues, we can find the right person to help you. But none of these issues get resolved. None of these issues get resolved without money. So I'm not asking for money over the radio, but I just want you to know it's going to take money to work on this problem. You understand that?
I do.
Okay. Well, give us a call this week, Dave, and I'll be glad to get you in. Call us 205-335-2640 or send us a message at joe@joeingramlaw.com and we'll get you in, okay?
Sounds like a great idea. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for calling. Bye-bye. Okay. We've cleared the lines. That's good. 7:22 Saturday morning, December the 7th. This is the first show of the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, the Scotch drinking, road running street lawyer that in about 45 minutes is headed out to run my 6 to 10 mile stretch. And we were just talking off the air. I think the sun will be out. I think it'll be about 31 degrees. It'll be lovely out there with my gloves on and no shirt. I'll be blue when I get done. My skin will be blue when I finish my 10 miles. But I'll get it in. We run 40 miles a week. We talk about that a lot. I love the Birmingham running community. It means a lot to me, especially in Homewood down there in the little curve by the track shack where we meet and have coffee when we finish our run. I know you guys are out there. You're pumping it. You're coming down Lakeshore Parkway past Stanford University. You just got your run in. Good work. All right. So we talked about a criminal law DUI issue in the first hour. I want to talk really fast. We got less than 40 minutes to do this. I want to talk about a big issue this time of year. If you just had your first cup of coffee, thank you for joining in. We want to be a part of your Saturday morning routine every Saturday for the legal issues that are important to you. Let's talk about who gets to see the kids on Christmas Eve. Who's going to see the kids on Christmas Day? Which parent, mom, dad, gets which? This happens every year. I hear this story every year. It starts around Thanksgiving. Joe, holidays are coming up. My ex-spouse called me, or the child's father called me They've changed plans. I was supposed to get the kids Christmas Eve. It's in our divorce decree. It's in the agreement we made. I get even years. They get odd years. But now, what do? Well, what does your divorce decree say about visitation during the holidays? Do you have a good relationship with the other custodial parent? Maybe we can have a phone call. Maybe we can all be reasonable. What's in the best interest of the children? Yeah, the children here. It's all about the children. And I understand, as the parent, you only have so many times to do this. In fact, you have from the time they're an infant to about 16, 17 to really enjoy these moments. You work hard all week. You save your money. You get your Christmas bonus. And now you get to spend quality time during the holidays when everything slows down in life with the ones you love, your children. Joe, it's a family tradition. We have Santa come by on the fire truck. We go to candlelight service at church. We have a dinner. We have a get-together. And then, Joe, it's a tradition in our family. We open one gift on Christmas Eve. Just one gift. Maybe it's a special gift from the grandparents, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, someone that lives out of town. It's really important, Joe. I love that moment. I live for that moment all year. And now my children aren't going to be with me. What do? What action do I take? What recourse do I have? Call me. Call your local lawyer. Now. We got 17 days. Don't wait till December the 21st to work on this. This is really important. We start now. Monday, D-Day. But maybe we work it out. Maybe cooler heads will prevail. We can swap out the time. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Work that out. I hope so for you and your family, your children, because it's all about the children. Not only when they're children, when they grow up, when they go to college, when they get married, you're going to see them, even as adults, if you want to, for the marriage, rehearsal dinner, when the children are born. It's about keeping a family together, even though you may not necessarily be able to live with that person. You got to keep it very reasonable as people because we all love them, the children. Yeah. 728 WERC Live 105 Talk Radio. This is the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram. 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC. Or you can email us at the show, questions@joeingramlaw.com, questions@joeingramlaw.com. If you have a personal issue in nature, you do not want to do this over the live radio, I understand, it's confidential. Call us this week, ring us up at the office, we'll get you in, we'll talk to you. We'll be back in a few minutes after we have a break, and we're going to talk about something that relates to the DUI that's going to be the worst case scenario on Christmas. Sit tight, folks. We'll be back. JoeIngramLaw.com.
You're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram. If you need confidential legal help off air, reach out to Joe at joeingramlaw.com. Stay tuned for more. Joe will be right back after this break for news and weather on News Radio 105.5 WERC. You're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's lawyer, Joe Ingram. Joe is a 20-year veteran of the Alabama courts, specializing in criminal defense and family law. Call in live with your questions now at 439-9372. That's 439-9372. Or write Joe with your question for the show at questions@joeingramlaw.com. If you need a private legal consultation, email Joe at joeingramlaw.com. Now, welcome back to the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram.
Okay, welcome back, folks. This is the first edition of the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, right here in the greater Birmingham area, live on WERC 105.5 FM. This is our first show, podcast that was developed in my basement, that we brought to the air for you every week from 6 to 8 on Saturday morning. If you have calls, call us 205-439-WERC or 205-439-9372. Questions at joeingramlaw.com. Questions at joeingramlaw.com. So we talked about the DUI situation. We talked about Christmas visitation with the children on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Now let's talk about the next scenario that I hear this time of year repeatedly. You're going to go for a family get-together. This is the greatest part. You're going to go to your in-laws' house. You're going to go to your grandparents' house. You don't pick your family, you pick your friends. Sometimes we like our friends better than our family, but you see them a lot between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day. You do. More than social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all those little wonderful toys we have now. You actually have to interact with them. Put the phone down, look at them in the face. And this is where you start having the issues of, we just had a presidential election. This is not the time to talk about politics. Somebody in your family may not agree with you on something. Whatever it is. Stay away from politics, folks. This is also the week after the Alabama-Auburn game. We're a divided state. Alabama won this year. Roll Tide roll. I'm in a divided household. My wife is a graduate of Auburn University. I joke a lot with her. We do not joke the week of the Iron Bowl. It's very serious. Just so happens we won this year. Thank God. Stay away from Alabama-Auburn game, folks. Maybe you bring up the issue about, hey, back in the summer when the family took the family retreat around July the 4th down to the Redneck Riviera, as we call it, Panama City Beach, Seaside, Santa Rosa Beach is where my second home is and where I hope to be in 20 years. Santa Rosa Beach forever. Hey, I didn't even get invited to the beach house for the summer. Why didn't you invite me to the beach house? Did you get left off of the beach house email? I forgot about that. I thought you were out of town. No, I was home, man. I was home. and you've had a little bit too much to drink on Christmas Eve. Maybe you've had a little Xanax pill to take the edge off to deal with your brother-in-law that you can't stand, or your sister-in-law, or your brother or your sister that you've always been super competitive with about who did better in life, who made better grades, who has a better career, who has a better job, who has a bigger house, who has a bigger boat. All these little things that we had problems with at home as children in our developmental years still affect us when we're adults. And you're drinking, and you get in a fight. Maybe, unfortunately for you, it turns verbal. It turns verbal. Maybe you call your brother-in-law a bad name. Maybe you call your father-in-law a jerk. Maybe he says, "You're a bum. You're the son-in-law that we've been trying to run off for 22 years. You never figured it out. You never measured up. You had too much to drink. You start cussing. You start screaming. Unfortunately, maybe it turns physical. Maybe you throw the Clark Griswold Christmas cup at your father-in-law or your brother-in-law on Christmas Eve. Cousin Eddie, you hit him in the head, and somebody calls 911, calls the paramedics. The 911 person on the phone is going to ask a lot of questions really fast. Does anybody have a gun there? Does anybody have a knife there? Is anyone bleeding? Do we need to call the paramedics? How many people are in the house? Folks, when the police are called to your house, that is the most scariest moment for a police officer. They have no idea what they're walking into. Whether you are in Warrior, Kimberly, Gardendale, Fultondale, Homewood, Vestavia, Mountain Brook, Hoover, Chelsea, Pelham, Alabaster, all of these municipalities, Trustful, they have no idea what they're about to walk into. So they usually bring 2 patrol cars, and hopefully they have body cam video. Almost all officers have that now. And they're going to divide you up in 2 corners, and they're going to say, "Tell us what happened tonight." And you're going to tell your story. The alleged victim, father-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, brother, sister, mother, father, are going to tell their story. Somebody may be going to jail for domestic violence on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. You're going to spend the holiday at the local police department, and you're going to stay for 24 hours for a cooling off period while everybody else is opening gifts on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Your Christmas bonus is coming to me too. Hello. Ka-ching, ka-ching. I'll be happy in January. We're going to have a court date for your domestic violence case. The worst 3 things that can happen to you in today's society is you either have a felony conviction, you have a conviction as a registered sex offender, or you have been arrested for domestic violence. Those 3 things will tattoo you and follow you the rest of your life to get a job. That's where you are, and that's where you may meet me. I hope that doesn't happen to you. It's not worth it. Just have another drink, overlook them, let it go. Enjoy the holidays. Let the subject go. Keep it happy. Enjoy your time with your family. This is the greatest time on earth where life slows down just a little bit. And you get to see people that are your lineage, your bloodline. Someone that brought you into this world. Your mother and your father will love you no matter what you do when no one else does. So you're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer, 439-9372, 439-WERC. Or you can send us a question at the show, questions at joeingramlaw.com, questions at joeingramlaw.com. It's 7:43 in the morning. We got about 20 minutes to go. And we do family and criminal law. We're going to talk a lot about that over the next coming weeks and months. We're going to bring in some panel guests. I have a lovely guest that's coming up in a few weeks that does mediations in divorce cases. That is the best way to resolve your divorce is through mediation. Joe, why? Well, the mediator is a lawyer or the mediator is a retired judge. They know how the judge is going to look at your case. They're going to look at it from a neutral third-party stance, be objective. We tell them our position. The opposing counsel and the other side tells them their position. And then the mediator says, this issue is not a hill you should die on. You're going to lose on this issue. You can go to court. You can have your day in court. You can be heard. You're not going to like the outcome. And you have a voice in how your divorce decree is written, rather than a judge who's going to hear the evidence in open court, who doesn't know you, doesn't know anything about you, who's going to make a decision on your children, custody, child support, visitation, financials, whether we're going to sell the marital home because you can't decide who's going to get in the divorce decree, who's going to get the retirement accounts. Here's a big one. Are you ready for this? This has just happened in about the last 5 years. I get this almost in every divorce case now. Who gets the family pet? We fight more over the dog or the cat now than we ever did. The cat or the dog is really important lately in a lot of cases I've had. I understand. I love my dogs. I love my dogs. Your dog, when you come home, they're so excited to see you, no matter how bad a day you had. You're their entire life. They look at you, they lick you, they have that wonderful glossy glow in their eye because you're home. So we're going to talk a lot about criminal and family law issues over the next couple of weeks and Christmas. 7:45, you're probably getting ready to get out the door to go get that Christmas tree, go Christmas shopping, take the kids to volleyball, soccer, ice skating. Maybe you're headed out to go do your run. I got 13 minutes, folks. I'll be on the road by 8:15 in my shorts and a pair of gloves. So that's what we're going to do. So let's talk a bit about maybe the radio spots you've heard to brand this show this week. Why I'm a lawyer. You've heard the juvenile delinquent story. I had homeroom in the principal's office. Yes, I had homeroom in the principal's office every day. I had to be there by 7:45, or he was going to call my mother and say, Joe's not with us today. Where is he? I was a juvenile delinquent in high school. I did everything under the sun, and even worse. Everything's covered now by statute of limitations. I'm not going to jail, folks, but I did a lot back then. The only good thing is, all of that stuff back then wasn't regulated, wasn't statutory, wasn't criminal code. It was just stupid kid stuff. Now, I represent a lot of good kids that have their whole lives in front of them, and we're going to tattoo them with a criminal case. 16, 17, 18. No. Boys' brains do not fully develop fundamentally till they're about 25. Females, you develop a little faster than us. You always have. Females are smarter than guys. Everybody knows that. I'm sorry, gentlemen. Ladies, you're smarter than us any day of the week. So I have a heart for kids charged with juvenile offenses. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about how I got here to do this show with you. When I got out of high school, I had no direction, had no insight what I wanted to do in my life. I went and took a job. I've had a job since I was 14 years old. I started cutting grass when I was 14. 16, I was working at the local grocery store, and by the time I got out of high school, had no direction. I was working at a pipe plant, shoveling sand, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, 365 days a year. I did that for 4 years. Is there anything wrong with that? No, sir. If you have a job, you are a productive member of society. There's nothing wrong with blue-collar work. There's not. I have a client that's studying to be a diesel mechanic. He's going to have a great career. I just knew that wasn't my life's work. This is my life's work, is to be here with you, to help you solve your legal issues, your legal needs, have a voice to be heard, to get you the justice and mercy you so rightfully need at the worst moment in your life. Let's don't be judged by the worst day we have. We all have redeeming qualities, all of us. That is why we have the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer. If you have an idea for the show, please give us feedback this week. Questions at joeingramlaw.com. Questions at joeingramlaw.com. If you have a question you want to call on air, 205-439-9372, 205-439-WERC. If you need to call us at the office first of the week, look us up, joeingramlaw.com. Office numbers are 205-335-2640, 205-506-5590. We'll get you in. We'll schedule a consultation if we need to. We'll help you. If you need to get a divorce, we'll help you. If you need to get visitation for the holidays, if you have a criminal case, we will help you with that as well. And if you have a licensing issue for your career, that is really important, folks. We do all licensing issues in the state. Dental board, pharmacy board, chiropractic board, medical board, nursing board, pharmacy techs, nurses, nursing home administrators, insurance producers with the insurance board, insurance fraud. Yeah. We handle all those kind of cases. I also handle a lot of cases that are civil in nature. Maybe you're a contractor. Maybe you had a contract to build a home, build a bathroom. You're not getting paid. What does your contract say? We didn't get a contract. Really? You need a contract if you're a contractor for a contract that's over $5,000. You need it in writing. It's really important so that we can go file a lien or we can sue them in court for money damages because you're not being paid. You're fronting the money for labor, expenses, supplies. They're not worried, but you're not getting paid. Maybe you got hurt on the job. Maybe it was a workers' comp case. Worker comp injuries are really personal in nature to me. I had family members have worker comp cases. 20, 30 years ago, people would not file a workers' comp case to save their life because they were afraid if they did that, they would lose their weekly paycheck that fed their family. Because you're working for the man, you have no power. Here you have a power and you have a voice. You have me. To talk to you, to listen to you, to point you in the right direction if I can, in my vast network of lawyers, colleagues, and contemporaries that may be an expert in that area. So we got through the first show, the first live show of the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer. The Scotch drinking, road running, street lawyer, here to help you. We did it. We actually did it. We've been working on this for about 2 months, folks, and we actually finished the first show. Thank you for letting us be a part of your day. I hope that you will start listening to the show, following us. You can hear us on iHeartRadio. This show will be put on my podcast that you can listen to during the week. Maybe you find it informational, informative. If you do, great. Send us a line, send us a note. Let us know what's important to you out there. We will get you the help you so rightfully need. And so, I got about 3 minutes left. This time of year, I read something last night. This is for all new law graduates that are about to enter my profession. This was written from a law student. When I was in law school, I was conditioned to believe that success meant one thing: big law. The message was clear. If you didn't land a prestigious position at a large firm, you had somehow failed. Now that I've built a fulfilling career outside of big law, I realize how wrong that narrative was. Big law is great for some people. It really is. But for many, it's the not right fit. And that's okay. Here's the truth. Law school students, here's a good piece of advice. Law school students should focus less on the prestige of their first job and more on gaining a diverse experience. Clerk for a judge, work at a small law firm. Intern with a public defender's office or an advocacy organization. Shadow attorneys in different practice areas of law. Every experience is a chance to discover what lights your fire and what doesn't. What is your passion? This career is stressful, and the paycheck doesn't always match the sacrifices we make every day. What will sustain you isn't prestige, it's passion. Passion for what you do, passion for your clients that you serve, passion for the difference you make in the world. That passion is what gets you through the anxiety, the late nights, and the tough early days in your career. So, to every law school student out there that is a recent graduate, don't let yourself be boxed in or outdated by definitions of success. Forge your own path. Explore your interest. And focus on what truly matters. Finding a career that fulfills you and allows you to make a difference. The legal world is vast. The opportunities are endless when you follow your passion. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my passion. It's been a great first show with you guys. I've enjoyed doing this. It's called the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, Birmingham's lawyer. We're going to do this every Saturday live, 6 to 8 o'clock. We want to be a part of your week. Have a cup of coffee with us. Call in. Start following us. Follow us on the website. You can hear the show on iHeartMedia. Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good week. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Legal Lowdown with Birmingham's own Joe Ingram of Ingram Law. Don't forget to follow Joe's Legal Lowdown podcast on iHeart. If you need a private legal consultation, reach out to Joe on his website, joeingramlaw.com. Tune in again next Saturday at 6 a.m. for the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, exclusively on News Radio 105.5 WERC.